Hi, I'm back with more news. One day after I posted the previous Finding Frankie news recap, more news showed up in the Discord server after a Q&A happened inside the server. It's not much, but I think it'll be necessary to cover, so let's just jump into the news. Also, this may be a tradition I start doing. Who knows? First piece of news we have is the reveal of two new areas in the game, Jump City and a unnamed jungle area. Jump City, as described, is supposed to be an indoor city with a ton of parkour mechanics. I imagine the city to look a bit like the world of Mirror's Edge, if you know what that game is, just indoors. Like, very Fruitical Arrow-like. I expect the area to have fake props and fake buildings. You can't go inside them as they're just props. And I predict Slasher Frankie will just jump around and maybe hang around a fake Empire State Building and act like King Kong. As for the jungle area, I predict that the area will have a ton of leaves around to look like one giant rainforest cafe, if you know what I mean. I think it'll have a ton of fake animals, including a fake Frankie animatronic that's just there existing. I also think the area will be carved in a dome, just like what Dark Dissolution has in Zone 2 of vengeful vegetation. No, I do not think there will be a bunch of restaurant tables and chairs and a bunch of food corners in that area, though I can be heavily wrong. Superblue has a plan to put out concept art in the game. Yes, we may live in a timeline where we do see concept art in the game that shows what the game would have looked like compared to what we see in the future. I think it'll be shown in an archive room, just like the Benny games does it, but it could just be in the Super Parkour complex, but I don't think it would make sense to show concepts to game contestants that are trying to win $10 million. It just doesn't feel right. In other news, Finding Frankie 2 will have its own story, but it will be like the first game, but perfected. I have no idea what that means, those were not my words. But Finding Frankie 2 will have a cliffhanger. I think the game's cliffhanger will set up the movie. Since the movie tends to have its own story, I think it makes sense for the game to set up the movie story. As for a third game, Finding Frankie 2 is meant to open new installations, like the movie, but that's if Superblue wants to make a third game, or a fourth game. They still got some to work on. There will be an ending. Superblue has thought of an ending. If you wish to know my theory on how Finding Frankie will end, I think we do in fact face the higher-ups, like Henry mentioned in the first game.
Not for you. Higher-ups probably would have instructed Frankie to kill me.
The man behind the Twisted Parkour show, and that's who I think the final boss will be. I don't think it will be a person in a business suit. I think the CEO will be what I generally thought Poppy Playtime's prototype was going to look like. I think the CEO will be this mutated flesh-looking monster. Or not that. It could be a soul trapped inside a computer machine. Just like whatever this thing was in this developer land game that I played back in 2020. Basically, I think the CEO is this giant living operating system that controls the entire game show, and killing it would shut down the game show for good, deactivating Henry and both Frankies. You see, I think Frankie is just a pawn, and we never met the actual puppet master. Superblue is planning on a cross-platform release for Finding Frankie 2. That just means the game will launch on both PC and consoles on the same day, but that is not 100% confirmed. There were two things that I did mention in my previous video, those being the grapple gun and other Frankie. For the grapple gun, Superblue revealed how it would work. The grapple gun will feel very similar to Spider-Man swinging. Basically, it will pull you towards a place, or it will also make you feel like you're swinging on a rope. As for other Frankie, Superblue stated in the past that other Frankie is merged with Slasher Frankie. Well, he lied. Because in the trailer, we see Slasher and other Frankie as two separate entities. As for merch, Superblue's store is now open, and the first wave is here. There's a bunch of selections you could choose from. And as for the second wave, that will not show up until Finding Frankie 2 is near completion. That is all the news I have. Yeah, so this was not a very long video. I just want to cover all the stuff that was in the Discord server, and I think which I did. So yeah, that will be it. See ya.